Classic Art Readers, Level 2. The Works of Claude Monet. Copyright 2023, Seed Learning. All rights reserved. Introduction. Claude Monet was a famous French painter. He is known for painting in the open air, outside. Monet often painted the landscapes around him. He did this throughout his whole life as an artist. He developed a special style. He captured what he saw in nature. Impressionism. Monet was a 19th-century Impressionist painter. In fact, he was one of the founders and leaders of the Impressionism movement. Impressionism is a painting style that started in France. It used color to show the effects of light on things and to suggest a feeling rather than show details. Impressionists were named after Monet's painting, Impression, Sunrise. This was painted in 1872. It shows Le Havre, France. This is where Monet grew up. A journalist saw this painting in an art show. He used the word impression to describe the painting style. He didn't like the painting style, but Monet and the other artists in the show liked this word. They decided to use it as the name for their art movement. These artists soon became known as Impressionists. Impressionism painting was a new way to do art. This was when some artists began painting outside. They didn't want to paint all day in their studios. Impressionists wanted to capture moments in time outside. They had to work very fast because the light often changed. So they used quick, loose brush strokes of paint. They also used broken color in their paintings. Early life. Monet was born in Paris on November 14, 1840. When he was 5 years old, his family moved to the Normandy coast. The family then moved to Le Havre, a town by the sea. Monet's early years were spent along the beaches and in nature. Some say this influenced his later paintings. At a young age, Monet took drawing lessons. When he was 15 years old, he started drawing and selling funny pictures of people. He also drew pictures of sailboats. In 1856, Monet met an artist named Eugène Bourdon. Monet learned how to draw landscapes from him. Bourdon was the one who inspired Monet to paint outside and capture nature in the moment. He also taught Monet how to use oil paints. Monet created his first known oil painting in 1858. This painting is called View at Ruelle, Le Havre. It shows Monet's skill at painting nature. Later life. Monet moved to Paris in 1859. He almost studied at a famous school of fine arts. However, he didn't want to go there. Instead, he decided to study at another popular art school. At that school, students learned new and modern ideas about art. Monet joined the studio of a well-known history painter in 1862. He shared a studio space with other artists. These artists became famous too. Monet and these artists shared new ways of painting. However, most people who saw the paintings didn't like the broken color and quick brush strokes. They thought the paintings looked messy. Some people even made fun of them. Monet left France and traveled a lot in the early 1870s. He painted many popular artworks during this time. Eventually, he returned to France. Then he moved to a town called Argenteuil. Monet developed his style while living there between 1871 and 1878. In the early 1880s, Monet painted many series. These include landscape and seascape paintings. He created a series of countryside paintings. For a series, he painted one subject many times. However, the subject was painted from different places and sides. It was also painted at different times of the day. Monet moved to Giverny, France in 1883. He bought a house that had an orchard, a garden, and a studio. Over time, Monet developed the gardens. Many of his best works were paintings of these gardens. Giverny inspired Monet for the last 30 years of his life. It inspired his water lily pond paintings. These came from his own yard. This series is about 250 paintings. Monet painted almost until he died in 1926. For the last 20 years of his life, he continued to paint, even though he had eye trouble. It is said that after doctors fixed his eyes, he could see some blues and purples that our eyes don't usually see. Monet wasn't very famous while alive, or in the years immediately after his death. Around the 1950s, however, his art became very popular. Impressionism and Monet are very important to art history. They are the base for all modern and contemporary art. Today, Monet's artwork is in almost every important museum around the world. Impressionism is one of the most popular art movements of all time.